All Elite Wrestling has moved out of Florida, and WWE has vacated the Thunderdome, but wrestling is still buzzing down here in Florida. Coastal Championship Wrestling, CCW, continues to have shows all over South Florida several times every month, but it's been a few months since we've spoken to anyone from CCW. I'm Ryan Joy, and I run MoonsToBeltTime.com, a website and database tracking pro wrestling around the world. On today's show, we're talking about CCW with Nelio Cuomo Costa. You'll have a chance to listen on some stories and learn about a promotion that's setting things on fire, but I'm also going to ask him about some of the top stories in wrestling. Nelio Cuomo Costa is in the house, and this is the Daily Wrestling News Show for August 16th, 2021, where we sort through all the bullshit in wrestling news to find you the truth. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I love the picture that you used.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I see a better man in that picture than I am today. Man, I love it. I love it. Like you said, we're setting the world on fire. We're also putting on great wrestling shows. But one of the things that you said is exactly right. Now that All Elite Wrestling and WWE is out of the Thunderdome and they're around the country, gives us a little bit of breathing room. Florida wrestling was really crowded for a long time. There was a lot of options. So now we're it's good and bad, but we have a little bit of breathing room here in Florida. But it's good to be here, Ryan. I'm so glad to be back. It's been too long.
I know it's been forever, since May, since I've had anybody from CCW, and I think Tiffany was the last person that I had on the show, and I'm going to ask you about her in a little bit. But
yeah,
I want to go back to May. It was the first show I missed was Bash at the Brew back in May, and I'm just scrolling through my Facebook, and I see all of a sudden you're like, I need a whole bunch more chairs, and we're standing room only. What happened back in May? You just
Well, we always had, we still do. I try to get a little more, 350 chairs, and normally that was pretty good. One of the things about Bash at the Brew, which is amazing, is even when we have the chairs, a lot of times it becomes like people come and stand, and they drink and whatever, they hang out, right on the sides there. So we have these 2 rows, and then behind these 2 rows is really like 3 rows of people standing. So it wasn't really that much of an issue. We've had a situation. We had a situation before where it was standing room only, but it was not an issue. There were more human beings than chairs, but there were some chairs that were still available. If you understand that. So May, man, I don't know what it was with May. I don't know if it was our main event. I don't know what it was, but we had an insane rush a few days before, and we had pre-sold more than chairs. The day of it, I realized there was more chairs than I was a little bit worried about. We ended up having 212 more people than chairs. So we had,
holy cow.
Yeah, we had like 570 in the building, 350 chairs, but it worked out. It was just a packed bunch of people standing, and one of the things is like, because you're there, you're drinking beer, people are grabbing beers, there's the bar in the back and stuff. It's an environment where you have the show, and then you also have people who are in transit, back and forth. But it wasn't an issue. I was worried that people were going to be upset. We've had issues at the facility, at the CCW arena, where we had 140. Technically, we really only put out 110 chairs at the arena. We had 140 for homecoming. So there was 30 people that showed up who some of them had pre-bought tickets. We allowed walk-ins, whatever. But people were a little upset that they had to stand in the arena, standing room only. I gave them a free ticket to their return, but that didn't happen this time. No one was upset at all, because just the environment, the party atmosphere in Hialeah was great. So yes, but yeah, we figured it out. We're still at 350 chairs. Once we get past 350, you're going to stand, but it's a great environment. Standing sometimes is.
No, it's good there, like you said, because you're going back and forth to the bar and whatnot. But is that the biggest crowd you had for Bash at the Brew? Because every time it's a good crowd. It's a hot crowd.
We're close. We're close to that number. We had the July 3rd was a little less. We had four something in July, because it was the day before Independence Day. So it was like, I think people were doing stuff that weekend. We have some big groups now that are like 30, 40 people in the groups that they buy consistently. a group of firefighters and an aviation group we love so much that like they bring their whole company to Bash at the Brew every month. So they were, so it's one of those things where everything hit at once in May, and then last one was big because of QT Marshall. We had a huge ladder match with Jackal and Anthony Katina. It was an amazing show, but it didn't get to May's number. Say what you will, but yeah, we're looking great. We have a huge show in September with Marty Bell and Cha Cha Charlie, Dominican Dynamite. Marty Bell, Cha Cha Charlie's Dominican against the Tucker family with Jake Tucker, Marina Tucker. First time ever for them tagging together as a mixed tag. So it's going to be awesome. That's going to be huge. We have other matches that we're going to announce as well. I think we might surpass 540, but I think we're going to be close to that this Friday in Port St. Lucie, because we have an awesome card, but we're in a situation where every single night I have to turn off my notifications on my phone because the ticket sale notification keeps going off. Wow. Good thing. So we're going to see a good crowd this Friday as well. So a lot of good crowds. It's crazy because we got this Delta variant, coming through, but I think a lot of people are vaccinated now. I hope a lot of people are vaccinated now, or they're at the point where they're, past the virus. But that being said, it's interesting because I expected to see, maybe some people being worried to come back out to professional wrestling shows, but I think people they're just so ready to be out there. And as long as you're out safely, hopefully vaccinated and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so you mentioned a whole bunch of stuff there, but the September 4th Bash at the Brew tickets are available on your website right now.
Yes.
Also, Destiny Awaits this Friday is available, and we'll get into all of that. But talk about what it was like to have QT Marshall there at Bash at the Brew this past.
Oh man, well, I mean, it's like as a performer, he's elite. This is his return to Coastal Championship Wrestling. He wrestled some matches in 2006, 2007 with CCW when he was still like fairly young in the wrestling business, a couple of years in. So this was his return to CCW, and it was great. He comes out, he cuts a promo how things have changed for the worse in CCW. It was really funny. But he was wonderful. His match with Cha Cha was wonderful. You look at a guy like that, you see like his size and just how well he is in the ring, how well he performs is amazing. So it's no surprise why he's such an amazing trainer. He did come and train at the CCW training facility the day before, and I learned so much listening to him. Just like it was great because he kind of walked in and was kind of like observing a little bit, and then he went. We have 2 rings and really 3 stations. Because the amount of students at CCW is exponential right now. Thank you, Jody. I love you so much. It was an awesome match, QT and Cha Cha Charlie. But he went right to the beginner students who are still like headlock takeover, all that type of stuff. And I learned a lot of stuff from hip tosses. Oh my goodness, QT's hip tosses are ridiculous. And he showed me a way that I had never even thought of to do hip tosses. So he was hip tossing one of our new students, who's about 320 pounds, and he was just flipping them, and I loved it. So I learned a lot on that Friday. Saturday, oh my goodness, if you have an opportunity, if you're listening to this anywhere and you're a professional wrestler and you have an opportunity to go to one of QT's assessments, he'll make an assessment. It's just kind of a seminar, but more he'll look at you and he'll see. If you have an opportunity to do that, do it. Pay whatever money you can, because he will tell you exactly why you're not going to be working for a big company anytime soon. And that's really important information, because if you know why, then you can change that. You can change whatever it is. You can change that about your technique or your body or your look or whatever. And you can take it for what it's worth, because he's someone who decides who's going to be on All Elite Wrestling. So, there's really a few people, like there's like maybe 2 or possibly 3 of those people in the world that are important. So go to that. So we'll be doing that again, actually. I don't know the date yet, but we'll be doing it in Nashville coming up, and then hopefully back at in the beginning of the year back in South Florida. But it was wonderful. He is wonderful. I can't say enough good things about him. I know that would kill his gimmick, because even to the wrestlers, he's very, very blunt and tough, very blunt. Like there's no BS with him. But in reality, it's like, he's a really good guy. That's why he's okay to do that.
Well, yeah, and if you do watch All Elite Wrestling, Mister No More BS is kind of looks like he's locking up with him, maybe at All Out. Not sure, but
yeah.
So you mentioned, you mentioned the training program and everything like that, and I mentioned the last person that we had on the show was Tiffany, and we were talking to her at that time, and she was telling the story of how she, got the phone call from you and everything, when she just kind of casually filled out the application and whatnot. But she debuted on that same show that QT Marshall was on.
Yes, she did. She did. It was trial by fire. Really, it was a trial by fire. She's been training for a year, and she has been holding her own debut back. In reality, I mean, she was, it was not a mental thing. It was, she wanted her debut to be perfect, and I think it was as close to perfect as a debut can be. You'll see that on a live wrestling, and it shows like what a competitor that Layla Gray is. Who, I mean, I don't want to break kayfabe too much, but she really made that match as well. Tiffany did a wonderful job and was a wonderful match, but Layla like really showed her experience now, and she wrestles on AEW constantly, Mission Pro. She's all over the country. She's here with us now constantly. Like a bunch of matches, and I think that shows to give Layla a lot of credit, but obviously Tiffany a lot of credit for working so hard for a year. And Tiffany had a lot of early setbacks, had a couple early setbacks that were just really difficult for her. And there's times in the ring today, like it's all mental, but like there's times where she'll like stop and say like, I don't get this. And it's like, what is there not to get? What are you talking about? So it was just one of those, things. So I was incredibly proud of how she did, and obviously it worked out perfectly. It was so organic. Bash of the Brew, she was a ring announcer, and she was completely thrown into that. And if you watch the first Bash of the Brew, her ring announcing is terrible. It's horrible. Like she's yelling at the microphone, her cadence is off. I was like cringing between every match. I was very upset. And then
she doesn't watch this.
No, I'm okay. She heard it from me. Don't worry.
Okay.
But then, and this is the point I'm making, then she got really good at it. And then as she improved, I feel like the Bash of the Brew audience, they watch this show. They all go to every single one of them. Like it's the same 500 people. So they grew with her. And so by the third or the fourth one, before she would come out, they would start chanting, like Tiffany, Tiffany, Tiffany. So they were behind her 100%. And then when, what happened with her and Layla at Bash of the Brew 4 or 5, I think 4, I don't know, one of those, at Bash of the Brew 4, when they had their fight, the crowd was they knew Tiffany. They watched her
right,
like a timid, bad ring announcer into a confident, good ring announcer. So they already knew her story. Now here was the next step of the story, and it worked out perfectly. And that's why like the crowd, like the pop, it was one of those things like that crowd pop was one of the biggest pops of the night when she attacked Layla back, and then when she actually had her match, the crowd was insane. So she's already like. It's one of those organic stories, like the Daniel Bryan story, where he loses at WrestleMania, and the crowd, like, it's one of those things where it's like, whoa, this crowd, no matter what now, like if Tiffany decides she wants to become a ring announcer again, it's too bad because it's out of the box already. The crowd is not going to let her. You know what I mean? It's true, Wes. That's my guy, Wes, brother. I love Wes. I love everybody from the Angel Riot, all those guys. Like they're so loud and. They love it, and they're there every month, and I love those guys.
Well, absolutely. So we've talked about, QT training, and we've talked about Tiffany going through sort of getting all the way to her debut. The other thing that I've been noticing a lot that you've been posting is for as far as the training facility goes, you've got Gangrel there all the time now.
Yeah. The Vampire is the head trainer, man. He is awesome. I mean, it's one of those like. Again, it's like a paradigm shift. Like Ryan, you left, and Gangrel Dave Heath has been a trainer for years. Knox Pro out there in California with the Samoans. Then he had his own training facility here in South Florida for 3 years, and he was he was kind of in a different point in his life, and I think it was just perfect. It was just absolutely perfect. I was obviously wanted, in terms of as a promoter. I mean, I love Gangrel. I love the Brood. I as a kid, it's going to sound really bad. Like as a kid, I love the Brood so much. I was disappointed when Edge was a singles. When they had Christian and Edge and they moved him away from the Brood. I was really disappointed because I loved the gimmick and I love Gangrel. He's such a character. And one of the things about CCW, there's one of the things that QT said that he loves about CCW is such like big characters, Cha-Cha, Agony, Venetius, Ariel Levy, like huge personality, huge characters. A lot of indie wrestling right now is like tough guy in trunks A who can work really well versus tough guy in trunks B who can work really well. And so it's like one of those things is when we have guys who go out there and are really put themselves out there as a character, and who is, I think, one of the best characters of all time, Gangrel. So it was awesome. And then in terms of training, Dan Ackerman, he's a great trainer. He started CCW, started the training facility, 2004. But man, like Dave Heath lives it. He really does live it. Like he's training there right now. There's a morning class. He's just completely immersed in it. So Monday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., we're fanging and banging in there. And then Wednesday morning, some other morning classes. He was there Sunday at Clash of the Kelsey, and he was breaking down everybody's match with us afterwards. He looks at everything so closely. So yeah, I mean, obviously for new students coming in, it's really awesome. But it's also like, man, it's awesome to have a guy who can be such a great match agent, and also someone who you might see show up on CCW Live. He had a little cameo on a live last night, but I mean, I'm really excited about just the prospect of us moving forward together. And he has a bunch of awesome students who are loyal to him, follow him wherever he goes. So we have a huge influx of new guys that you're going to be seeing in Coastal Championship Wrestling. And it's been amazing so far. So it's funny because you get an influx of maybe 20, 25 new guys who are trained, who've been wrestling and stuff like that. And then you get the egos in professional wrestling coming into play. Like, who's our top guys? Who's coming in and who's going to do this, or when is my match time or whatever. But we work every weekend. I don't see many indie wrestling companies. We have a show Friday, and I'm just adding a special show, a festival show Saturday. I'm wrestling 4 times this weekend, so there's plenty of opportunities to wrestle. But it's one of those things of like, who's our top guy and who's the best and stuff. But I look forward to that. I think it's a challenge, and I know most of my guys, at least, the guys who are wrestling every month at the Bash and who are wrestling Friday. And, they know that it's every single day we wake up to earn our spots. And that's in life. That's not just in professional wrestling, So let's just like work harder and make our show better and make our training better and make our company better. And I think Dave Heath definitely does that. And I need, me and Dan as well. Like I've needed someone like that. So I'm ecstatic that he's around.
It's kind of awesome because
so far, like, it's so funny because he's like the most chill dude. He's like this like California, like relaxed guy. And Ryan, I don't know how many times you've seen Dan. Dan is normally the guy who's like yelling and freaking out, and I'm normally that relaxed guy. So it's nice to have another guy who can help calm the waters a little bit.
Well, it's nice you mentioned the Brood earlier, and you have so there's 3 parts to that. One of them main evented WrestleMania. One of them's main eventing All Out, and the other is training at CCW.
You're
Maybe
right.
main eventing Alive at some point.
Right.
Sounds like.
You're right. That's really cool. Yeah. We have the Impact champion too. Like Christian's the Impact champion. Yeah, Edge is. I mean, Edge. Jeez, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, then you have Gangrel. But
it's that faction all these years later. I mean, it's been 25 years or something since the Brood was on television.
Oh yeah, well, it's just something too that like they saw something in that character. Gangrel was already a veteran like 4 or 5 year veteran. By the
Yes.
time he got to the WWE, he'd already wrestled in Japan and other places like that as the Vampire Warrior. So, they put Edge and Christian in with him to see if he can be the leader and all that thing, and now he's leading us, So if he could be a mentor and a leader to Edge, WWE Hall of Famer, Christian, a future Hall of Famer, current Impact champion and stuff, then I think he can be a mentor to Cha Cha Charlie or Venetius.
Right.
I think we're very, very lucky to have him, or Will Austin or Alex Ocean, Agony, all our guys, Jackal,
So I have to ask you some questions coming in here. You mentioned the big influx of people that you've had come into the facility.
Yeah.
Travis really interested. He's seen Kylan King in a couple of your.
Well, yeah, she was there last night. I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I don't want to spoil any surprises, but we have some cool, fun things planned. I mean, I can't tell you how many people were messaging like, "Oh, like Kylan and Marina." Like, let's all this. Let's make it happen. Let's wait. Like, it's so funny. Like, everyone's just ready to, like, trust me. I see it. I see the messages of the dream matches and a bunch of cool stuff that we can do. Let's just, it's funny because there's a lot of stuff laid out, but you'll see some surprises coming in.
It's like, I think when that show Lost came out in 2010, everybody started like freezing every frame and like analyzing every piece of information they could. So
exactly
now that concept applied to social media.
Exactly. Now people are looking on the pictures like, wait, who's that there? Oh wait, well, so it's gonna be something else. Yeah, it's something else already. Because it's hard too, because we like to focus on long-term stories, or try to as best we can. In independent wrestling, it's so difficult. And then now it's just like, blow it all up. Her versus her versus her, him versus, and I'm like, oh, wait. Like, let's make those matches count. That's something that I think that I try to do more than I see other independent wrestlers. Let's make the matches count. Let's put an audience in front of a bunch of people.
So the other thing is, you mentioned you referred to yourself as like an indie. I've heard you refer to yourself as like a regional.
I'm sorry. I screwed up. We are the last territory. Last territory shirts go on sale this Friday, so you better buy them. I'll put the link up today. But you better buy them. We are a territory. That's sorry. I said I should never say it anymore. We're no longer an independent wrestling company. We are a territory. And really, someone explained to me we're actually 2 territories. We do have weekly shows. We're running up and down the Florida, from I think I might just spoil something, but Melbourne down to South Miami, down to South Florida, then of course Naples and Fort Myers now. So we kind of have this little area
in Nashville.
And then someone was like, well, you're actually 2 territories because you're going to be running monthly in Nashville, and I'm already in talks with a building in East Tennessee, and then doing a little circuit in Nashville, with the help of guys like Bram, Camille Brickhouse, Bram from the NWA, Tom Latimer. Sorry, I keep calling him Bram, but he's Thomas Latimer, and then Chase Stevens and a guy Fable Jake up there, and they're rearing to go. So with their help, I think we're going to have a second part of the territory going in no time. Now, that being said, we're going to be running monthly in Nashville. I have the ring up there. We have the school up there. I'm not going to say like everything that we do is a territory. Florida is a territory. But I think there's a lot of interesting stuff happening up there in Tennessee that you're going to see. And maybe 6 months from now, we're going to be in a whole different level than just the last territory. But, until then, yeah, I guess I should stop saying we're an independent wrestling company. We are a territory.
Well, educate us on that. What is the difference in your mind?
So it's simple. Like, the difference is we now have to hunt and kill anyone who runs in our area. No, I'm just kidding. No, the difference of a territory was you had the NWA, which was the governing body, and then they would decide who was the legitimate area run. So Mid-South would run, or in that
St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly. The St. Louis territory. Then you had guys down in Houston, and Texas had 3 territories in it, and whatever. But really, like when I say a territory, I really do mean it more in the sense of running so many shows in different areas. So before, like in Florida, it was Eddie Graham, and he would run like the Miami Beach Convention Center, and then he would run, Palm Beach, and then he'd go to Jacksonville, then he'd do Fort Myers, or what's called the Hertz building now, but I forget the name of it. So you'd run all these buildings almost like on a weekly basis, and you would tell like a rotating story for those areas. And what I say we're the last territory is, we're going to be running monthly or more in each little area, in each city. We have Bash of the Brew regularly in Miami, in Palm Beach at the Kelsey Theater. We have our monthly show, which is coming back for Heroes Welcome on September 12th, and then Nightmare on Park Avenue on October 17th. Then we have our shows in Port St. Lucie. And then now we have a monthly show that we're opening on Fridays in Naples. So each one of those areas are going to be covered by CCW with, I really want Johnny Nova to be my guy in West Palm Beach. I really want the people in West Palm Beach to snatch on to Johnny Nova. Cha-Cha Charlie's my guy at Bash of the Brew. I really want them to feel, Jackal's kind of exploded at the Bash too, but I really want people to go and have their guys for their areas or their cities. And now with these new guys coming in, I really want the whole of Florida to watch live. I want them to buy the tickets to their regional area, and I want them to say, "Hey, I know that I have a minor league baseball team. I know that I love All Elite Wrestling, or I know that I love the WWE, but my promotion is CCW." And I think that's how you'll listen to guys. I hear guys right now talk about, I used to go to, the Davie Rodeo and watch Dusty Rhodes get bloody every week. And I'm like, wow, that's insane. That's what I want. I mean, I don't want Nova to blade every week. But that's what I want in 5 or 6 years, people being like, I remember when, CCW was here on a monthly basis, and that's what we cared about. So that's where we're going. That's where we're going. But you know what? It works in another way too. And the professional wrestlers don't have that opportunity to work in front of crowds as much as they used to. I heard my trainers for years say stuff like, well, in Puerto Rico, I could work on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right, and I could work every night. And that, you guys couldn't do it because you guys aren't tough like we were back in the 80s or the 90s or whatever. And then, now is a situation that, well, I do work 4 times in a weekend. You know what I mean? So it's like, you want to get better, you can come to CCW and get a lot better. That being said, I have had talents reaching out like crazy. So it's just a lot of spots, obviously we want also all our wrestlers to be on the radar for WWE and AEW and NWA and MLW. Oh my goodness, MLW now. There's some stuff happening with us in MLW that we're going to talk about down the road too. But I want to be the situation where it's like they come to CCW because they want to get to that next level on AEW, WWE, or whatever. And this could be a place where they can come and they can work storylines. They can get a lot better, and then they can go somewhere else for our own students, but also for guys who. That's something I know QT was interested as well, because we have Rosario Grillo and Hunter Knott of the Factory coming and wrestling Cha-Cha Charlie and the Cha-Cha Juggernauts. We have a lot of the guys from the Factory reaching out because they went to the Factory. A lot of them have gone to AEW Dark. Maybe they're not going to be signed in a month or 2 months or 3 months. So what do they have to do? They have to work. So they can either go and work one show at Beyond Wrestling, and then one show at somewhere else, and at one show at Chicagoland Championship Wrestling or AAW in Chicago or whatever. They can run one show there, or 2 shows there. Or maybe they can call CCW and they can work 5 shows and a storyline and show some promos on CCW Live and get themselves in and out and whatever, like a territory, like we'll have our guys, Cha-Cha Charlie, unless a bigger company signs him, anytime soon, he'll be our guy. Jackal's our guy. And then, of course, I'd love to have rotating guys coming in from different parts of the country. So, and then new students coming up. So that's kind of how I see us as the last territory. It all kind of piles on itself, the school, CCW Live, all these shows,
So now we've established you guys as the last
The
territory.
last one. In a couple of years, a bunch of people are going to say they're a territory, but right now we'll say that we're the last one.
There you go. So with that, let's talk about the forbidden door concept that is all over wrestling right now, and especially if you just look at your card for this Friday, Destiny Awaits, in context with the forbidden door.
You're exactly right. So actually, it's so funny that you say that. So obviously, Brian, we love Brian. Brian comes down. He trains at the facility. He has a deal with
Brian Cage. We're talking about
Brian Cage. Sorry, yeah, Brian Cage, the Machineless Wolverine, Mr. Get My Shit In. He comes down. He helps out. He will train at the school on an occasion, and he will. He has a deal with Redcon down here in South Florida, so he's in the area a lot, and he told me he loves working our shows. So I kind of spoke to him and said, well, let's talk about some opponents that, you haven't had you don't have the opportunity to work. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, this is a great idea. So Rich Swann, former Impact world champion, Brian's former Impact world champion as well. They're working together in the main event in Port St. Lucie on our show. Moose, former TNA world champion, is working Cha Cha Charlie. So, I don't know. Brian he wants to work Rich. I want to see that match. So you have an Impact and AEW talents working in the main event of our show. You have another Impact talent, but Moose was just on All Elite Wrestling. So you don't know when Rich Swann is going to show up on All Elite Wrestling. It's just really, really awesome in that,
Moose is on New Japan too, so
Moose is me exactly. So you have these guys who can work anywhere and work anybody. So it's a really good thing, A, for the wrestler, and I think B, for some of the promotions. You have an opportunity to see fresh feuds. I think Christian going to Impact opens up a lot of really cool things. I hope. I don't know. I love his whole theme music. Christian, you're on your own. That's freaking great. So I would hope I'd hope to hear that again. That's positive. But you have Ospreay. Ospreay is going to be working in the United States. You have Switchblade. You have Switchblade worked Sam Adonis at Warrior Wrestling, or is working Sam Adonis Saturday at Warrior Wrestling. It's just sitting there then I'm sitting there well, I can get Switchblade on a CCW show. It's one of those things where you're just your mind just starts working. Will Ospreay be able to work indie dates? I'm sitting around it completely changes everything. Bram is Bram worked super crazy at our last Nashville show. He's a trainer at the CCW training facility up in Nashville. And now I'm thinking Tom Latimer. So I'm thinking a bunch of opportunities of guys in the NWA working Impact guys in CCW because they're both out there in Nashville. It's just just
time.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a weird time, right?
Yeah, you can go to any show, CCW or AEW Impact, and you can see anybody almost.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, you saw Cha Cha Charlie and Will and Salazar on AEW. They were working as Ricky Starks' security guards. Right. They got thrown around. The forbidden door is open now. LaBrava was working Elevation. That same thing. You're going to see some other CCW guys working All Elite Wrestling as well. I think we kind of widen that, strengthen that bond. It's really cool. The only people that you for sure won't be able to see is guys who are signed with WWE contracts, but lately there's a lot less of those guys around.
57 less this year.
Yeah, exactly. There's not going to be many of those guys. It's going to be 9 guys in the world that can't work anywhere else, But I think WWE obviously is a cost saving measure, but I think what they saw was going on AEW Dark, and I think they saw a new, better way to do developmental. A cheaper way, but also a way that it's they're still getting seasoning other places, but I could still bring them in, work them in a underneath capacity, and then when you see, so I would expect to see. We're not going to see WWE Dark anytime soon, but I would expect to see on certain shows potentially underneath talent or some CCW talent working some, enhancement work for WWE and stuff like that a lot more often than we've seen over the last 5 years since they changed that model.
Has that exodus, I guess, from WWE, have you seen that impacting any of like the recruitment or anything like that for you guys? How is that impacting the Florida scene?
So about new wrestlers coming into the school, not at all. The new wrestlers coming into school is insane. I mean,
Or just people looking for work even?
yeah, people looking for work is getting crazy. But it's one of those things where, whether they like to admit it or not, when you have a new huge flow of potential independent wrestlers dropping into the marketplace, it hurts your ability to go out and work. It just depends, I guess. Like, it's hard because you want to see guys. I'll give you an example. I guess Braun Strowman wanted $20,000.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
he's not affecting.
He'd have
He's
no way
not
to rest.
affecting anybody's payday. It's like nobody's not getting a payday because we're gonna bring Braun instead of you. Whoever. So, but there are guys who came down on their pricing because there's just a lot of new guys just flooding the market. There's going to be more new guys and girls flooding the market. That being said, for us, there's a certain type of talent that we look for, So, like I love Buddy Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
And other guys like that, but those are more like feature one-shot type of stuff.
Right.
For those day-to-day, like guys that can work 5-6 shows, it's still the same for the most part. There's also guys who leave the business too. There's a lot of guys there's guys who come into wrestling, guys leaving wrestling. There's new talents graduating school every day, but it is going to be a little bit weird. You're going to see like companies like SWE Fury that seem to grab every single one of those guys at first. Down in Texas, or PPW likes to run like a super show where they try to grab all of those guys. I feel like those companies, they're going to just always be able to grab those guys, but then they're going to go get a run at Fury, but then the new guys are coming in right after you. You know what I mean? So It's like that's where I think a lot of people will be affected. But if we're going to bring in like Buddy to work Brian, or Buddy to work Will Austin or whatever, it's a one-off type of thing. So I don't think and I don't expect him to be available very long at all. I expect him to be in AEW.
About 3 seconds,
much, upcoming, like whenever he's available.
Right.
So the same thing with Andrade. Like we had talks with Andrade, and he's still available. Actually, even if he signed to AEW, we had talks with right away, right as soon as it happened, and I was like, so, but then things, then he signs, and then he's, so working at AAA and all that type of stuff. And it won't be the last time, I know we have guys who are going to be announcing they're working with LAWE. So there won't be we'll be rubbing up against each other still. So I'm not saying it never happened, but it's just one of those things like, that would be it. If Andrade was like the only guy, that would be something I'd be like, okay, we have to do it. But there was just so many at the same time that he just gets lost in the shuffle,
Yep. So one of the news items that came up last week in wrestling, Fuego del Sol gets a contract. Fuego del Sol gets a contract, and about 3 seconds later, you got him announced for a date in Port St. Lucie.
Well, I wanted to announce it before. I wanted to wait. So October 23rd, there's another big surprise. But yeah, Fuego. I met him at backstage at AEW in Miami, and then literally, he worked a taping at the CCW arena. He worked S2S for a British bloke I like a lot for his website, Dan Edler, and he had, I would say, like one of the best matches with Alan Martinez, S2S.
I bet
it was really, really good. Really good. And so right then, like afterward, I said, hey, like, and it was kind of a closed taping. Mm-hmm. And I said, man, you guys deserve to like have a match in front of like 600 people. Right. So I was like, let's get this on paper and stuff. So we locked him in for October. 23rd in Port St. Lucie. There's another huge surprise. I can't drop the poster. I want to drop the poster by Friday. I can't drop it yet because it's a huge surprise. I don't want to detract from Friday's show. But as soon as I saw that contract, I was like, oh, I want to make sure that people know that, he is coming our way. And that's why I love AEW. AEW is not going to block it. They're not going to stop him from working with us, So, but yeah, I was so happy. I was watching with my daughter Rampage, and I had an inkling. That I was like, I think they're gonna just give it to him anyway. I mean, I think
for a second he's gonna beat Miro. Was that
no? I thought he was gonna. I mean, I thought there was no way.
Yeah, right.
Miro. But I was like, I have a feeling they'll just give it to him anyway. Like nobody told me anything or whatever. But I was like, that just seems like the right thing to do, and obviously they did it. So he deserves it. He's freaking good, and he's such a nice guy. I guess people do see it because they see being the elite and all that type of stuff. I think that's what got him the contract. Is such a chill guy, such a he's an Oklahoma guy, but like it's a Texas. Like, he just rubs me out as like a good old like Texas good old boy. It's funny because he's a luchador, something like that, So I could see it 100% as long as his personality came through. Like he deserved it. So he deserved it.
Absolutely.
And I think his personality will continue to come through. Like I think now that he's under contract, I think he has really, really good potential to work as a babyface, underneath babyface. Like another Darby Allin or something like that. It's really good.
So, to talk about Fuego's personality, it seems like another aspect of the
one more thing. Fuego's not an ugly guy. Like these, like the luchador thing. I don't get it. Like Rey Mysterio's a good looking guy. Fuego is not an ugly guy. Like he didn't need to put a mask on. I don't know what the impetus is. Normally a guy's like kind of ugly to wear a mask. Like for obvious. Think about it for a second. You always want to put an ugly dude in a mask. So like what? Like he's a good looking guy. He has a lot of babyface sympathy. Without a mask. But whatever. Sorry. Continue.
I was actually going to ask you about the comedy shows that you're running in.
Yes.
On the CCW arena.
Yeah, it was it was really fun. I mean, I have a background in comedy for years, and I was like, let's just do something fun. A friend of mine, he's a producer, he's an agent, Eric Rosenblum, down here in South Florida. He also does a lot of like printing stuff. Southgate Design is his company. But he was like, man, we can just do comedy in the ring. Because he came to their show, we had 140 people at, and he was like, you have a real venue. I'm like, yeah, it's a CCW arena. It is a real venue. And he's like, well, we should do a comedy show. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure if it will draw people or whatever. And then I was like, you know what? We should have a wrestler do comedy and then bring in real comedians. We know. Yeah. Like this last time was Carl Remy, who you can check out I Possessed, the movie's first movie that he wrote and directed and produced and stuff like that. We had Dave from South Beach Toe there. And of course, funny is I know these guys, for years, and I've worked with these guys before, and then, they're coming in, and it's funny, like Carl came up to me, he's like, how'd you get hooked up with this ring and these guys? I'm like, Carl, I'm a wrestler. I've been a wrestler. Like, you're a wrestler too? Like, what is going on? So it's like, then they perform in the ring, and then Ariel was this last time. Bo Tavian, the Blue Chip, last month, he did a freaking great job. I thought he was going to bomb, and he did great. And then we had Esther Koo, who was wonderful, and then now Carl Remy. So I'm talking to a guy who loves professional wrestling, who reached out to us. He comes to all our shows up in Port St. Lucie, Casey Peruski. So once I get a date on Casey Peruski, he's hilarious. He's hysterical. He has a special on Hulu or Netflix. And I see every time when the tickets come in, he buys tickets to every time for the Port St. Lucie show. He bought a couple other tickets. And I wanted to tell him, like, come see me, dude. Like, I don't know if he knows, but like, it's like, come hang out with me and see me. Like, I'm there, I'm sure he sees me, he's just, maybe he's nervous or whatever. So he'll be the next one. And it's really fun. It's a really good time. People come, and Circus Bar, which is there's a bar in the same complex as us. They come and they'll bring a little drink thing for the fans. So, you can't have comedy without booze. And it's a fun time.
Absolutely. All right. Well, it's a huge weekend in wrestling coming up. I mean, we've got Destiny Awaits. We've got this United Center show in Chicago. We've got
CM Punk is going to come out right away. I mean, you literally should just start the show. The fans will already be chanting CM Punk, and then you play Cult of Personality, and he comes out. That's going to happen on Friday. So I spoiled it.
I agree. That's how they should start.
You don't need to watch it. Just come to Destiny.
DVR that. You can't DVR
that. That's what's going to happen. And then he's going to come out and he's going to cut a kind of a babyface promo, or it'll be even better if he comes out and he cuts a heel promo on Chicago, on Tony Khan, and on all the AEW, and then say why would I ever wrestle here and leave? That would be great. We didn't know Rampage was going to be there. Obviously, we have Brian in there, so he didn't know Rampage was going to be booked on the same day either, and whatnot. So it was like it is what it is. But the ticket sales have been great. So come watch our show, and then DVR Rampage. SummerSlam is on Saturday.
Yeah, in full card, 10 matches or something like that from Vegas. So
I'm booked on a show in Ocala on Saturday. I don't know how that's going to go. I know in the back we're just going to be watching SummerSlam, and then then what's Sunday?
Sunday.
NXT is on. So what a stacked weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very, very busy. So, all right. Well, you have Destiny Awaits Friday. The card on that we've talked about: Moose versus Cha-Cha, Brian versus Rich Swann.
Yep. The South American Alliance versus the Resident Scumbags, those pieces of trash. They won a battle royal in Nashville in May, and they decided they wanted a tag team title opportunity. When you win a battle royal in CCW, you get a future championship opportunity. It would just so happens the South American Alliance already had matches set up or whatever. They decided to take it in their own hands, attack the South American Alliance after their match at the last Bash of the Brew, whatever. So this is their opportunity. Lou Spectre is a piece of trash. You also have Ashley D'Ambrose, who's done a lot of work on All Elite Wrestling. She's a fitness model. She'll be wonderful. She'll be wrestling Marina. That's going to be a huge match. And then it's interesting because we needed a title match in Nashville the following week on the 28th. So we have Ashley D'Ambrose wrestling Caitlin Alexis in Nashville. We have Marina wrestling JC Storm in Nashville, and there will be a title match. It'll just be dependent on who is the winner this Friday. So if Ashley beats Marina, then it's Ashley with the belt against Caitlin and whatnot. So that's going to be a big match. We're going to see what's happening there.
Well, you also have Agony versus Alex Ocean. This is a huge match, right?
That's a huge match. That's like their first one-on-one match. We saw what happened at the brewery. That was wild.
Hit with some clipboard.
Hit with a clipboard, exactly. And then but this match is huge. So if Alex Ocean loses this match, he cannot wrestle for CCW. If Agony loses the match, then Alex Ocean picks their stipulation match for Bash of the Brew, the next Bash of the Brew. Not this next one, but the following one. So I know Alex is working very hard, to make sure that this is not his last match. I know there's a lot of talk on him going other places and whatnot, but this is going to be something that's very interesting. Let me just say that.
He's had a really weird year when you consider the first breakout, he wins the CCW championship, loses it the next night, and then he gets stuck in a series of matches with Will Austin that anybody that can walk away from those should be, that's one thing. Yeah. And now he's stuck. Now he's in there with Agony. So it's a weird year for this.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know the half of it, Ryan. He's had a strange year. His career is just like very stop and go. Lately, he had certain opportunities and that might have been taken away. It might not have been taken away. But it's just one of those weird things where, he's in he wrestled Schlock. That's a big thing. He wrestled a death match with Schlock. He's been at a career crossroads for the last 6 months. But it's funny because that Will Austin thing took off. I mean, that was amazing. They just had that first match was so good that they had 3 matches that were just really, really good and bloody and whatnot. And then, Agony turns on him at Summer Glory, his best friend. And, just what a year for that guy.
Yeah. Well, and then if you're saying if Alex Ocean wins, he gets a match at Bash of the Brew. All your Bash of the Brew tickets are on sale throughout the whole rest of the year.
The rest of the year, yeah. So that's not the September one. That will be October 2nd.
There you go. So we know we have Bash at the Brew all year. Sounds like we're going to have Port St. Lucie shows all year.
Yep.
What else is going on?
Man, well, we have Breakout.
Yes.
We have Breakout. We have the West Palm Beach shows. So there's a West Palm Beach show every month. Tickets, those ticket listings will come up. September 12th is the next one. Then October 17th, November 14th, and then December something. December 3rd will be Breaking Chains, which is a huge show that'll be in Port St. Lucie. That'll be a really big show. I don't even want to overshadow October 23rd because that's going to be a huge show in Port St. Lucie. Fuego del Sol, and another huge surprise. But then we have Breaking Change, which is the 3rd, and then we have the 4th, and then then next year, then we roll right into next year, which is going to have a lot of stuff in it, a lot of stuff in it. We're going to have to run probably a Breakout every month at the facility, and probably we have so many new talent training with us. We're going to probably run another show in the facility, maybe a little edgier show, so you'll have the Breakout show, which is like our normal shows, and then we'll have maybe a little 18 and over show at the facility as well. So expect shows every week.
Basically, yeah. The next Breakout is September 11th. No, Christy James is on.
Christy James versus Jamie Senegal. That's a match they've been dying to have. Those two want to freaking kill each other. It's one of those things when like I hear the conversation and I'm just like, guys, let's tone it down. Please tone it down. Please tone it down. Which is weird when it's, you're talking about a women's wrestling match. It's not normally like, please don't do that to each other. Not to be sexist at all, but it's like, please don't, do that. And then, there's just so much good stuff, Ryan. It's overwhelming. It's really fun. It's really overwhelming, but with the help of, Dave Heath, with Dan Ackerman, with all of the CCW fans who always buy the tickets, always help us out. It makes everything A-okay. And the construction business is incredibly busy right now. So my life is just like, the construction business is insane. I don't know, like people are just building things that like,
hey, they got to stay, if they're, people are staying home now. So,
right. A lot of remodels, but there's a lot of new builds. People are buying homes, like crazy. It's just one of those things. It's just like everything hitting at once in a good way.
Well, Al Carl has a
my wife
question. Will CM Punk be in Florida? I guess will CM Punk be in Florida on Friday and not Chicago, says Al. I guess they have to come to Destiny away to find out.
It's the forbidden door. Who knows? I didn't want to spoil the surprise, but Alfred might already know, I have my private jet in Chicago bringing down somebody too. So who knows who it is? Maybe AJ Lee. Maybe AJ Lee comes out Friday. Who knows? At CCW.
That's right. All right, sir. Well,
how cool would that be, though, right? I mean, CM Punk, like, I wish he would, I wish he would have. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll be allowed to just do like an indie tour and just do one indie show in every state and like come out and do something. That would be so cool. Or Daniel Bryan. Imagine Daniel Bryan just coming out and just wrestling the top indie guys in each state.
It sounds like something Daniel Bryan would want to do.
Right.
Actually.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Well, I spoke to PCO, and that's his idea once his contract with Ring of Honor is over. They don't let PCO work outside of Ring of Honor, which is really disappointing. But with PCO, he's like, bear with me, when I'm done, we're gonna do a tour. And I'm hoping to get it. Yeah, exactly. We're going to get a tour, and we'll see. Hopefully we can get 2 matches out of PCO on his way out. Then he wants to do a big stadium show in Montreal, where he's from, as his last show. But he wants to do like an indie thing. And I will gladly take a PCO date. But imagine a Daniel Bryan date or a CM Punk date or imagine, like, wouldn't even think about this a year ago. That's like a joke. Oh yeah, right. But now with this Forbidden Door, who knows, right?
Absolutely.
Have Switchblade,
a live wrestling every Tuesday, and every weekend, every 3 shows a week, every weekend. It seems like for
You're going to see also now. I mean, the most requested thing that I get is to upload all the Bash of the Brew shows in their entirety. So people will say please can you just put the whole Bash of the Brew 1 through 5? People say I'll pay you to put this up, or I'll pay you for the shows. And I'm gonna go back and edit some matches that I didn't edit before or whatever, and I'm gonna start putting some shows in its entirety. Summer Glory, no, not Summer Glory. Summer Glory. I'll put up in its entirety, and those breakout shows I basically have in there in its entirety. So you can watch on a live, and then you'll watch the matches, but I'll be working really hard. I edit all that myself, but hopefully I'm gonna give you more help. People don't understand editing a live every week. I do it myself, and then I shouldn't destroy the mystique there. But if I'm gonna have some people helping a little bit in terms of that, then I'll be able to get some of these full shows up as well, because I get it. There's a certain vibe to Bash of the Brew. Sometimes I get upset because it's we have other amazing shows too. I know we have a great monthly show that's really kicked off really strong and everybody loves it and they want to watch from beginning to end. We have a lot of other stuff too, other shows that we are crushing it. But that being said, yeah, you'll be able to see them in their entirety soon. Not all right. So still go to the show. Still go to the show. Buy the tickets, and then if you want to watch it, maybe 2 months. I'll have some sort of amount of time, and then I'll just give them away.
Absolutely. All right, sir. Anything else you'd like to share with people before we get out of here today?
Guys, thank you guys so much for making CCW awesome. Thank you, Ryan Joy, for you guys in the Minutes to Bell Time fans and stuff have been a huge part of our growth, a huge part of what we do. I think I can't tell you guys enough how much it means to me. And it's you have a passion. My passion is professional wrestling. I know a lot of your guys' passion. Obviously yours, Ryan, is professional wrestling. You have a passion. So when you wake up and you realize you're making money, you're making real human dollars. You're making American dollars, not pesos. You're making American dollars on your passion that you do work really hard and stuff. It's a really weird feeling. Something I never thought, that I would be able to do. So I owe that to every single human being out there, anyone who trains at the facility, anybody who watches our show. And that's really, it's really important to me because, if you're not out there passionate and doing what you love, then life is not as fun. So I wanted to thank everybody. That's it. Just go to the YouTube, go to the social media, go to the Twitter. Just keep a close eye because we have a lot of stuff coming on. Ryan, I mean, any of my guys available to you, brother, anytime. I love that Ryan is so respectful at the shows and all that type of stuff. But please, Friday, I would love to have you come back and do a couple interviews with guys. Please, don't be a stranger.
Absolutely. All right, sir. Well, for Nelio, for CCW, for Minutes to Bell Time, for the Eastern Observer, I'm Ryan Joy, and we will see you next time.